Because right now we want to talk about graphing inequalities. Okay? There's a few steps that we want to follow here. It's actually quite simple. The first step is that you graph as though whatever it is that we're talking about, graph as though it were an equation or a function. And when I say graph as though it were an equation or a function, that means, is it a parabola? Is it an absolute value? How do you shift? How do you stretch? Can you find the slope or the intercepts? You graph it that way. After you do that, pay attention to the inequality symbol. If it's less than or if it's greater than, then that means you're going to have a dashed line. You don't get to have a solid line. However, if it's less than or equal to or greater than or equal to, then you will have a solid line. You guys with me on that? Because think about that. When we had less than symbols or greater than, you had open circles on the number line, right? When we start talking about graphing in 2 dimensions, then that corresponds to having a dashed line. Likewise, a filled-in circle is a solid line. Now, this third step here, first of all, says to solve for y. I need you to solve for y so that the next part makes sense. When you solve for y, you're going to see 2 things. If y is less than or equal to, I want you to shade down or shade below, however you want to think about that. If, however, you see y is greater or y is greater than or equal to, what do you think you're going to do? You're going to shade up or shade above. Whoops, that is so out of the... Oh, it's a good thing I'm not recording this, right? Except I am. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to run through a few examples of how we can graph lines. So, stick around after the break.